Beneath a crimson sky, the world was unraveling. Cities crumbled into silence, vast landscapes turned barren, and the air carried a haunting stillness. Amid this chaos, a lone figure stood, his gaze fixed on the horizon as if waiting for an answer that never came. He wasn't a soldier, nor a hero. He was simply a young man carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. But what could he possibly do in a world already lost? It wasn't just the planet falling apart. It was his heart. Somewhere out there, someone was waiting for him, someone he couldn't bear to lose. She was his light, his reason for fighting, and the thread that tied him to hope. Their story began in the ruins of a forgotten village. He had been searching for survivors, his steps heavy with despair, when he heard her voice, a soft, melodic sound that cut through the oppressive silence. She appeared like a ghost, her delicate form bathed in the fading light of the sun. Her eyes, filled with an enigmatic sadness, locked with his, and in that instant, the world seemed to stand still. Who was she? A fragile figure in a place devoid of life, yet her presence felt larger than anything he had ever known. Her name fell from her lips like a whispered secret, and though she was a stranger, he felt as if he had known her forever. As days turned to weeks, they journeyed together across the desolate lands. She spoke little of herself, but her actions spoke volumes. She moved with an ethereal grace, her laughter like a fleeting breeze that softened the harshness of their reality. In quiet moments, she would hum songs from a time long forgotten, and he would listen, captivated. He couldn't help but wonder, how could someone so radiant exist in a world so dark? And why did it feel like she was holding back, hiding something behind her tender smiles? One night, as they rested by the remnants of an old fire, he finally asked her, "Why are you here?" The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. Her gaze turned distant, and for the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. She hesitated, her voice trembling as she replied, "Because I have nowhere else to go." But her answer only deepened his curiosity. There was more to her story. He was certain of it. What was she running from? And why did it feel like their paths were intertwined by fate? As they journeyed, their bond grew stronger, the barriers between them slowly crumbling. She began to share fragments of her past, memories of a world she once called home, a life filled with love and loss. He listened intently, his heart aching for her pain, and yet her resilience inspired him. She wasn't just surviving, she was living, finding beauty in the smallest moments. A wildflower blooming amidst the ruins, the warmth of a shared smile. It was in these moments that he realized he was falling for her, deeply and irrevocably. But could love bloom in a world so close to its end? Their journey took them to the edge of the known world, a place where the sky met the earth in a cascade of light. It was there that she finally confessed the truth. "I'm not like you," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm not even supposed to be here." She explained that she was bound to this world by a fragile thread of magic, a relic of a forgotten time. Her existence was fleeting, a temporary spark in the endless darkness, and when that spark faded, she would be gone, leaving him behind. Her revelation shattered him. How could he go on without her? How could he save someone who was never meant to stay? But she smiled, her fingers brushing against his cheek. "Don't grieve for what hasn't happened yet," she whispered. "We still have time." Her words ignited a fire within him. He vowed to find a way to keep her in this world, no matter the cost. Together, they ventured into the heart of the ruins, searching for answers, for hope. Amid the chaos of their journey, they found a rare moment of peace. Beneath a canopy of stars, they shared their fears, their dreams, and their love. She leaned against him, her warmth a stark contrast to the cold night air. "If this is all the time we have," she murmured, "then I'm glad it's with you." Her words were a balm to his soul, and for the first time, he allowed himself to believe in a future, however uncertain it might be. But fate had other plans. As they drew closer to their goal, the ground beneath them began to quake. A rift opened, swallowing the path ahead. On the other side stood their destination, the key to saving her. He reached for her hand, determination etched into his face. "We can make it," he said, his voice firm, but she hesitated, her expression filled with fear and sorrow. "What if I can't be saved?" Her words hung in the air as the rift grew wider, the path to their salvation slipping further away. Would they find a way to bridge the gap, to defy the forces tearing them apart? Or would their story end here, with love left unspoken and dreams unfulfilled?